There's truly something special about no-bake desserts. They're easy to throw together and absolutely delicious at this time of year. So today I'm sharing some of my favorites with you. Let's get to my kitchen and let's get to no-baking. To kick us off today, we're making my favorite go-to no-bake peanut butter chocolate cookies. So to a pot on the stove, add in a half a cup of milk. Also add in a half a cup of butter. These no-bake cookies are so easy to throw together. Then add in a fourth a cup of cocoa powder and your sugar. Whisk these ingredients together. You basically want the butter to melt down at this point. And then once it does melt down, just let this simmer for about a minute. Just, let it simmer so all the ingredients can combine together. After that point, just remove this from the heat, and then you are going to stir in the rest of the ingredients. So go ahead and stir in about 3.5 cups of oats, and then after you're finished adding in the oats, you're just going to give this a little stir. You basically want those oats to get coated in that chocolate sauce. Then add in 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. You do want to make sure you do use that creamy peanut butter just so it is like super smooth in the end. You know what I mean. Anyway, after you give this a stir, add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and there you go. Easy peasy. This is such a simple recipe to throw together. You could put this in a baking dish and kind of make like bars out of this. Or my favorite way to do this is put it on wax paper and just do like little cookie scoops on wax paper. Let it sit for at least 30 minutes. And there you go. Here's your no-bake peanut butter chocolate cookies. These are like a go-to at this time of year. I always make them at least once. They also make for like perfect neighbor or friend gifts just because they're like an easy cookie recipe to throw together. Delicious and a crowd pleaser. Now we're getting started on this strawberry shortcake cheesecake. This is one of my all-time favorite no-bake desserts. To a big bag, or you could use like a food processor or a blender, add in about 20 Oreos. Use the golden Oreos and just break those Oreos up. I'm breaking mine up with like a lemon juicer, but you could break yours up, like I said, food processor, blender with a meat mallet or like a rolling pin. Once they're crushed up, add in about 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Just give this a little mix just so the butter and the Oreos get combined together. Now pull out an 8x8 baking dish. I did line mine with wax paper just so this is easy to pull out of the baking dish, in the end. Just press those Oreos down. This is going to form a crust. Place this in your freezer so it could set up while you get started on like the cheesecake filling. So to a bowl, add in 2 8-ounce blocks of softened cream cheese, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Give this a really good mix until it is like smooth, kind of like this. Now you're going to stir in 8 ounces of Cool Whip. Just stir it in, that way it will stay nice and fluffy. Go ahead and mash up about 3/4 cup of fresh strawberries. Then add those strawberries right into the bowl. Give this a really good stir, and then you are going to pull that crust out of the freezer, and you are going to add this cheesecake filling right on top of the crust. Let this sit in your fridge for at least 2 hours just so this cheesecake can set up. This is a very easy, delicious strawberry cheesecake. It is absolutely out of this world. Now I'm getting started on the crumble topping. This is one of my all-time favorite parts of this cheesecake. It is just so good. So add about 12 Oreos, just the golden Oreos, into like a food processor blender, or you could like just mash them up in a bag. After they're a little bit crumbly, you're going to add in a 1/2 cup of dry strawberries and 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And then you're going to mix this all together again until the freeze-dried strawberries, Oreos, and the butter kind of, mix well, kind of like this. Then you're going to sprinkle this all over the top of the cheesecake. Like I said, this is a very easy no-bake recipe. If somebody asks you to make a dessert for something, this is very fail-proof. It is delicious, unique, and a total crowd pleaser. After you sprinkle this over the top, you could cut it up and serve it up. I don't know if I was the only kid obsessed with those like strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. Well, when I was little, I just loved those ice cream bars, and I occasionally got them when I was younger. So this is a very similar cheesecake to those like strawberry shortcake ice cream bars. This cheesecake is absolutely delicious. It has like the perfect strawberry flavor, not overpowering. It's phenomenal. You need to try this one at least once. I was making these toffee bars last week, and I know that they're not a no-bake recipe, but let me tell you, if my friend was making these toffee bars and didn't give me the recipe, I'd feel bad about it. So I was making them and thought, I just need to show you guys. I know you're going to enjoy this recipe. So line your 9x13 baking dish with parchment paper, then line that with some graham crackers. Into a pot on the stove, add in 1 cup of butter. You're also going to add in 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of chopped pecans. If you're not a pecan fan, of course, you don't have to add them. If you're a huge pecan fan, go ahead and add in 1.5 cups of pecans, but just let this boil for 5 minutes, stirring frequently. At that point, just go ahead and pour this over the graham crackers and kind of spread them out. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 7 minutes, so it is very minimal baking. After the 7 minutes, and this is out of the oven, just grab about 5 chocolate bars. I'm using, basic Hershey's chocolate bars. Cover the top with those chocolate bars just side by side like this. We basically just want the chocolate to melt, so I'm going to cover the top with foil, let this sit on my countertop for about 7 minutes, and then I'm going to spread the chocolate out just like this. It's going to be very easy to spread. Now, you want this to completely cool down, so I like to let this sit on my countertop for about an hour, and then place it in my fridge for about 30 minutes to another hour, just so the chocolate completely hardens and this sets up. This recipe is on page 218 in my first cookbook. So if you have my first cookbook, open it up. You'll find this recipe on page 218. And if you've never made it, oh boy, you certainly need to. But just take this out of the fridge. The parchment paper is nice on the bottom. That way you could just lift it out of the, baking dish. Just break this up into smaller pieces. And this is going to amaze you. This is one of my favorite things to bring to like neighbors or friends or teachers at this time of year, just because it's a very easy dessert to throw together. Everybody I've made it for loves it, and you just have to try it. It is not overly crunchy. It doesn't hurt my teeth. Well, you know what I mean. Some toffee could be so crunchy that it hurts your teeth. This toffee is easy to put on a plate and gift to others. It's delicious. You absolutely need to try it. Now we're making this Eclair cake, and this is one of my all-time favorite cakes to make. It seriously tastes super similar to an Eclair, but in my opinion, it is 100 times easier to make than regular Eclairs, and it's absolutely delicious. So to a bowl, add in 2 boxes of vanilla pudding mix. I'm using the French vanilla pudding mix. Then add in 3 cups of milk along with 8 ounces of Cool Whip. So just one of these containers. You're going to mix this together super well. You could mix it with a whisk or just an electric hand mixer. I'm using my electric hand mixer for today. After you're through mixing this well, you're going to grab a 9x13 baking dish, and you're going to line the baking dish just with some graham crackers to the bottom, just like this. Over the top of the graham crackers, you're going to add half of the French vanilla, mixture that we just made up. So pour that over the top, and then you are going to add another layer of graham crackers. And then over the second layer of graham crackers, you're going to add the rest of the pudding mixture. And then over the top of the rest of the pudding mixture, you're going to add a third layer of graham crackers. So this recipe is very simple to throw together. And then over that last, layer of graham crackers, you're going to grab about 16 ounces of chocolate frosting. You can make your own homemade chocolate frosting or buy a container. I typically just buy a container at the store just because it's so convenient that way, but just microwave it until it is pourable, and then pour the frosting over the top of the cake. You are going to let this sit in your fridge for about 2 hours, and then you could serve this up. When I say something is worth trying, I absolutely mean it. This is fantastically, fabulously delicious. It is just so scrumptious. It's a really good one. I also added this recipe into my brand new cookbook called Make It Simple, but you have to try this recipe at least once. It's so good. Now we're making my favorite no-bake cheesecake. This is my go-to cheesecake to make whenever I want, really any type of cheesecake. And I'll explain why here in a moment. But to a bowl, add in 16 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1 cup of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just mix this until it is smooth. Once it is smooth, just add in 1.5 cups of whipped topping. The reason why I love this no-bake cheesecake so much is because you could top it with fruit, you could top it with like chocolate, pecans, caramel to make like a caramel, pecan cheesecake. Like I said, you could do fruit on the top. You could serve it plain. You could make so many different variations of cheesecake out of this one cheesecake filling. Today, I'm serving it in like a pre-made graham cracker pie crust. I'll stick it in my fridge for about 4 hours to set up, but you could serve it in like an Oreo pie crust. You could serve it in like a pecan pie crust. Do whatever you'd like with it. I topped mine with some fruit for today. This cheesecake filling is delicious. You could go crazy with this filling and, do whatever you want with it. I do have this recipe in my new cookbook called Make It Simple, so it's in there just in the dessert section. Now we're getting started on these Avalanche cookies. I love making these Avalanche cookies at this time of year just because they are easy to put on a plate, to give to neighbors or friends. To a bowl, add in 16 ounces of white chocolate bark, microwave it until it is smooth. Now add in 3/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. Just stir it until that peanut butter is, well combined with that chocolate bark. Now you're going to stir in about 2 cups of crispy cereal, kind of like Rice Krispie type of cereal. Then add in 1.5 cups of mini marshmallows. You do want to make sure they're the mini marshmallows, along with 1/2 cup of the mini chocolate chips. Stir those around, and I do want to let you know this recipe is in my new cookbook. It is called Make It Simple. There's over 150 recipes in this book. This book is heavy. There's a ton of different recipes and pictures in it. Every recipe does have a colored photo. All of these recipes are either easy dump and go or few ingredient recipes, so nothing's complicated in my new cookbook. The book is discounted with free shipping right now, but after you're through stirring this together, grab some wax paper. Then you're going to place scoops of this cookie mixture on the wax paper, sprinkle more mini chocolate chips over the top, and then you could just let this sit in your fridge until it hardens, and there you go. These are like the easiest cookies you could throw together. They have so much flavor. The marshmallow, the like crispy cereal, chocolate, peanut butter, everything goes together so well. I would love to have you over here, so make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next video like this. Bye for now.